What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Today we are interviewing a passionate individual. I call him the Kyrie Irving of barbering just because he's so charismatic. At the same time, he's a deep soul. With that being said, stay tuned to watch this episode of Barbershop Talk with You'll Find Out. Alright, I'm here today with a great individual, a great person. He has a lot of soul, and how I've always thought about him. I think he's a freak of nature just because of what he's been through and his trials and all of that. So with that being said, I'm going to have him introduce himself.
For those of you that know me, how's it going? Hope y'all doing well. For those of you that don't, what's up? My name is Eli The Barber. I am from San Francisco, California, but I work out here in the peninsula at Barbershop in San Mateo, California.
Eli, you've been barbering for how long? Licensed,
I just turned 10 years.
10 years.
On April 24th.
April 24th. 10 years. 10 years this man has been in this trade, in this profession, in this industry, and I'm sure a lot has happened in those 10 years.
A lot has happened. A lot of growth has happened.
Right. So, with that being said, early on, what was your journey like? How did you figure out that you wanted to be a barber?
It's been in my family, man, for a long time. As far as I can think back, my grandma was a beautician, my mom's a cosmetologist. Growing up, I was always in the shop. I was always in her shop, running around. So I have cousins that are cosmetologists as well. As far as I know, I'm the first barber into the family.
Nice.
But being an entrepreneur and having that skill as a cosmetologist has definitely been for sure.
Yeah, right on. And what have you taken from those experiences regarding I know your mom has had a salon for a good time. How was it like just knowing that you wanted to potentially be a barber, be within that same industry as her? Was it something that you grew up wanting to be, or did you want to be something else growing up?
Yeah. It's funny, when I was growing up, I wanted to become a dentist.
A dentist? What?
Yeah. It's funny. I saw my little brother, mess up his teeth, and then when we went to the dentist, I was hella fascinated by all the machines and everything that was going on. I was like, dude, this is cool. I want to be a dentist. You know what I mean?
That's unique.
Yeah,
I don't.
Super random.
You don't really hear that. At least from us barbers now.
Yeah.
If I were to ask a barber now, they'd probably say I want to be a cop or a firefighter, nurse. But when you say dentist, that's different.
Yeah.
But it's cool because it's kind of aligned with us.
Yeah.
With our history.
Yeah. It's right, because we're used to be doctors and shit like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I definitely wanted to be a dentist at some point, and then over time, I just started tapping into my more creative side, drawing. I used to tag a little bit, just do little things, just anything that was artistic. I kind of just always did markers, crayons, anything, build. That's kind of like where everything kind of stemmed from. I can tell you that, and slowly but surely, I ended up just cutting hair, and like how we think of it as an art. Like, it's always been an art. I see it when I cut. I don't really see the grain of hair. I see color, if that makes sense. So from light to dark.
Yeah.
That transition.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that gradient from that transition. That's what I see when I cut hair.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah.
Was there a moment that you can think of where it triggered that, I want to be a barber?
Yeah, there was a moment. I was 11 years old. My mom was doing her thing at her shop. Mind you, she was in a mission, 25th and Cap. This African American dude comes in, wanting to get serviced. My mom, she was very uneasy about it, and eventually told him to just go somewhere else. But while that whole conversation was happening, I feel really bad for the dude, because my mom was, she was first. She's been here in America since she was 15. I think at the time she was in her early 30s, like early 30s, mid 30s, maybe. But just seeing a little bit of her being a little prejudiced towards this dude because he wasn't Latino.
Yeah.
So she was like not comfortable servicing him.
Okay.
And had to tell him to go somewhere else. But I feel really bad, man. Like, damn, how do you provide a service for a community, but yet you still are very picky and choosy. You're picking and choosing with who you want to service,
Correct.
And I was like, damn, that sucks. Like, if I'm gonna do this, I want to make sure that I could literally service anyone from straight hair to coarse hair and everything in between.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so, with that said, now that you're able to provide for clients and people, like how grateful are you to the fact that you're able to service all people from all backgrounds? How grateful are you for that?
Bro, the experience is there's no really words for me to tell you how grateful it is to know what I've learned. Funny thing is, I learned when I was cutting hair, when I first started doing it as a hobby, I started doing straight hair. But then when I got into barber college, I was in West Oakland, so all the hair that I was cutting was actually coarse hair.
Wow.
So it's crazy kind of thinking about it in a conversation it was someone with coarse hair that kind of got me like, oh man, I want to make sure that I take care of him if I become a barber. You know what I mean? And now when I went into barber college, the first type of hair that I learned was coarse hair. Yeah. And eventually when I came here to San Mateo, I learned how to do straight hair. Gotcha. So it's crazy how that.
Super. And I think that's interesting because
ironically, the irony in that.
Yeah, it's barbering 50, 60, 80 years ago, things were a lot different.
Oh, super.
Things were more, how would I say, divided.
Yeah,
you could say regarding when it comes down to like barbershops.
You wouldn't catch a dude at a beach. Yeah, for sure. Everything kind of like was focused around their own community and culture.
And I guess what I'm trying to get at is at least for me, from what you're sharing, I like the fact that all walks of life can come and be a client in your chair.
Absolutely, bro. Yeah, that's the goal.
And I think it's a breakthrough moment for history as barbers to know that, no, it doesn't matter who you are or what you look like, in Eli's chair you can be taken care of.
You always get taken care of, regardless.
And I think, but I think it may sound cliche, but I think it's deeper than we actually think of it. Because we can be like, oh, it's cool, but that's a breakthrough moment, bro.
Yeah,
because like, who cares where you come from? Like, I'm gonna show you who I am, and you tell me who you are, and I'm gonna appreciate you.
Yes, and at the end of the day, they're choosing you to come to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have a Rolodex. Rolodex of so many contacts, so many barbers. Like they're only choosing to come to you or to me or to anyone, any barber, because of the fact that they feel like you understand what the goal is, what the look they're trying to go for, and they like your style, and you make them feel comfortable.
Yeah, right on. So, well, now, you've been doing this for 10 years.
That's crazy, bro, 10 years.
And, from your story, I know you've been in different establishments.
Yeah.
Throughout your story. Everyone's story is different.
I have been.
But how do you feel about the places that you've been in? Are you proud of that or are you not proud of that? Because some people might look at it as if, oh man, I wish I would have only stayed in one place and that was it. Yeah. But now that you're here and you look back, how do you feel about all the moves that you make, and how do you feel about the decisions that you had to make in order to I guess put yourself in different situations?
Okay. To answer your first question, the way I feel about the moves that I've done is basically it's helped me understand teamwork, bro. How to work with different people, how to understand people, how to communicate with people. if I take all those experiences from all the short-term, long-term time that I've spent at the shops, like to culminate that whole experience, I'll be like, I learned. If anything, my takeaway is I've learned to work with a team. You know, to create a brother, to be in a brotherhood and create that brotherhood with people that I didn't know. I became to care about and experience things with and hustle with every day. And the intention is to do the exact same thing that we're all in it for. You know what I mean? So you grow there's a camaraderie that kind of grows within those relationships that I've built over time, and the decisions that have kind of made me leave is I just feel like I outgrew them. You know, like I've always been fond of learning, being a student, but also being a teacher, communicating what I know. I always feel like there's two types of people in this world. There's people that share information, and there's people that get information and then keep putting it in their back pocket and just keep it to themselves, you know? And I feel like sometimes, like, I understand the whole keeping it to yourself because you want to look out for yourself, no one's going to look out for you. But at the same time, if you're able to just do your thing, it's not going to be, you're not really going to give anything away because you do your thing your way. You know what I mean? I can give you advice on how to do something, but you're going to do it your way. You can try to emulate it like me, but it's never going to be like me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The essence is very different. So with that, like, I have no problem always telling people like my story, my journey, my resources, where I get this, why I do this. And so like for me, it's all about sharing. The more I share, the more, if anything, I fine tune myself, because if I'm hearing myself share these things, it's like, oh man, I'm telling this guy to do this, maybe I should be doing this myself too, you know?
Yeah.
So I kind of check myself a little bit too.
Do you feel like people need to come up to you and be like, hey, can you tell me how? Or do you feel like you're strong enough or I guess you could say willing enough to not have them come ask you?
Oh yeah, man. I'm very comfortable with like, and sometimes I hope it doesn't come off like me. I hope it doesn't come off being too aggressive sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll turn the clip off and I'll call somebody over like, hey man, come here, check this out. Like, you see that little line right there? Like from here you can see it. I just pay more attention to that, and after that you got a solid blend. Like I don't mind calling it out when I see it. It's when I have a problem when I would find it a problem if I don't call you out on it, because it's like there's an opportunity for you to correct, and instead of letting that discrepancy kind of go out the door, let's pay attention to it right now while it's here, and then that way you end up having a customer that might end up sticking with you for years. You know what I mean? Because of that attention to detail that you pay attention to, opposed to just zoom out, get cashed out, and then be about your way. I'll see you next week, 2 weeks, whatever routine this person has. You know?
Yeah.
And so I'm very open to definitely making the first taking
initiative.
Yeah, taking the initiative.
Yeah. Okay.
All these lights, bro, they got me kind of. I'm a little nervous, bro.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
But yeah, I don't mind taking initiative when it comes to definitely helping others and letting them know where I feel they have opportunity. You know.
Yeah.
And I welcome it when it fits to me too. You know, if I feel like I'm missing something or see a dark spot or nothing, like, please let me know, because we're so caught up in we have tunnel vision in our project, whatever we're doing, that we really can't see other mistakes because we've been standing there for so long.
Yeah, and you remind me of a story where I was in. There's a way to go about it, and I think that you approach things from a standpoint of I want to share this with you because I
just want you to be better.
Yeah, I want not just me, but I think you want all of us.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, because it's also hard to. I feel like and God bless you for having that ability to do that, because it's not easy, man. People can take it the wrong way.
People get offended, bro, and it's not, and it can come across as like me calling them out to make them to kind of like.
There's a way.
Yeah.
There's an approach.
Basically, there is a certain way. Yeah.
There's an approach.
So I always try to approach it like I care. I just care. Yeah. And I hope you see that I care. It's not about like, oh, my boy left a line in his head, though. You know what I mean? Like I've heard that before, and it's like, man, stop getting on my boy. Just step in. Be like, hey, bro, come here. If you don't feel comfortable telling in front of the customer, you know, I'm always about, if I have a customer and I can't cut a certain thing a certain way, I'm gonna call it out as I see it. Like, hey, for example, one of the guys I used to work with, I'm just gonna say, hey, James, like, I seen how you did texture. Like, what's up, bro? Can you show me real quick? Like, I hella do not mind, like, saying, I don't know how to do this. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna figure this out, and we're gonna get you right. You know? So that's definitely it's very easy for me to do that, to accept what I can do and can do. So
that's good. Yeah, bro. That's good. But besides a haircut, because you used a line and a haircut as an example. Yeah. But what other examples do you feel like you'd be good at approaching your coworkers?
Oh man, I'm really good about just analyzing like simple human behavior. Yeah. Like really just anything really. Like if you want to tell me something, I can give you my perspective on it, my opinion on it, and that's pretty much what I can give you. I'm kind of the worst when it comes to my own situation. You know what I mean? I'm like really, really good about acknowledging other people's stuff and giving them advice, but then when it comes to my own stuff, I'm just like, maybe I need to start taking my own advice. It's all right. Because I be tripping, man. I'm like, oh, what am I supposed to do with this?
It's like, so, you know, we want to keep other people sane, but who keeps us sane?
Exactly. You know?
Or what keeps us sane? Like, so, what keeps you sane? Like, as a barber, what keeps you balanced in life?
Honestly, the fact that I can turn it off and on. You know, like the fact that when I'm at the shop, I'm completely here, and when I'm at home and when I'm not in the shop, I can turn it off completely. Like before, when I first started barbering, I couldn't turn it off, man. There was no possible way to turn it off. I've slowly moved into a different kind of organization process, I guess you can call it. Yeah. I went from having a written book to my customers really having access to me 24/7. To now, they don't even text me anymore. Only because I want them to have my availability completely at their complete access. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, I'm a service provider. I love what I do. I'm going to be here from the hours that are mentioned at the door, and I feel like I just want them to know, like, here's how this works, and this is where you can find me, and I'll be here regardless. Yeah. You know. So to kind of like just progress to that, it's kind of like, okay, because I used to be able to go home, or I used to go home and I get text messages at 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. My girlfriend at the time would be like, dude, what's going on? Yeah. I'm like, dude, my customers, like, really, your customers? I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, you have no idea. We'd be driving, I get a text. I'd be at dinner, I get a text. Yeah. And then next thing you know, I find myself double booking, and then next thing you know, I forgot to respond. Then I look shady. Yeah, that sucks. Then it's because life takes over, and I want people to understand that. And it's like it's kind of hard for them because it's like you're just a text away. And so I feel like being able to stay sane and be able to do this, to find that disconnect, like which a lot of people are fortunate enough to have. Like if you're not a barber or some type of entrepreneur, you work somewhere and you clock in and you clock out, right? Yeah. So you're able to disconnect from that completely. So now that I've done this, I feel like I have peace of mind. So like I completely can dedicate my entire time when I'm here, and then when I'm home, I can just technically just dedicate myself to my life. Yeah. To me, taking care of myself, taking care of my family, whoever's in my life at the time. Yeah. And so that's that balance that I have now to keep me sane. Because before I was all in, bro. I was all in, and it was barbering 24/7. Get in here at 6 a.m., leave 11, 12 at night. Yeah. You know, like for years. And so now that I've done my work, and I'm like, okay, I've definitely established who I am. The community recognizes who I am. Let me take a step back a little bit, and let me enjoy my life a little more. But still, when I'm here, definitely give it 110% all the time.
So when you're not here, when you're outside, like, you know, you could call it Eli time. Eli time. When you're out there, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing to keep you, sane mentally, physically? Yeah. Because the things that we do out there, I think, would you agree that they affect your workplace here?
Absolutely, because you're always going to be thinking about the next move that you're going to be doing out there when you're here. Yeah. You know? So my routine is kind of like, dude, I'm big on self-care. I've been big on this for like the last 5 years, where I've decided to put myself first. Before I would put a lot of people.
Should you have started sooner?
No, not at all. I like the fact that I recognized that that's what was happening, and I needed to change that, just for the better, just for the better of myself.
Correct.
But I wake up in the mornings. I go to the gym. I work out. I feel like in this profession we have to take care of our bodies because we put them under so much stress. Our feet specifically, our joints, our back, our hands. I feel like we need to be really strong and solid and healthy to have longevity. If we can accomplish this, then I can see myself cutting till like I'm 60, 65. Would I? Is that the goal? Probably not. You know what I mean? But I definitely want to be healthy enough to work that many hours and those many years and be like, hey man, I've done this for 20 plus years, 30 years. To be able to say that to somebody that's also trying to do what we do.
Yeah. So there's some barbers that I've met throughout my life, and they say, I want to cut till I can't anymore.
Yeah.
So would you say you're not one of those? Like, is that not how you look at it?
And then if my calling is that, then that's what it's going to be.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a good question because it's like some people are like, dude, I want to cut till I can't no more.
Yeah. Honestly, I'll tell you straight up, like, as my growth has progressed from day one to now, I can definitely be honest with myself and with you and with everybody else and tell them, like, I definitely have more to give to the community than just being in the barbershop.
I like that.
No, there's no disrespect to anyone that stays in the barbershop for 10 plus years. No disrespect to anyone that doesn't feel they need to grow. If that's where you want to be, that's what you want to do, then kudos to you and more power to you and wish you much more success. But for me, it's more like I know that I could definitely provide something here, but the way that I like to communicate and share information, I feel like I could definitely like do something more.
Nice.
Like teach, just do stuff where I'm just showing something to someone that's really eager to learn, just as eager as I was to learn. And so going back to college recently in the last couple of years that I did, I kind of like honed in on that. I'm like, oh man, I really like to share information. I really like to tell my process and then let people figure it out, trial and error. And if it's worked for them, and if it hasn't, like come back and tell me what's up, and then maybe we can tweak something a little bit,
of course,
to kind of get you going on the right way. But I'm all about it. I love seeing progress in other people's stuff too. So
right on.
Yeah.
If you could teach, if you could teach on one subject, to barbershops, salons, and I say that because we're in the same industry.
Yeah, for sure.
We all deal with hair.
Yeah.
If you could teach one topic or one subject, and someone paid you to go teach it all over the world, what topic or subject would that be and why?
Branding.
Branding?
Branding.
Okay.
And I'll say branding only because at the end of the day, everyone gets so caught up in the shop that they work for that they kind of forget about themselves. And it's like, let's not forget the intention as to why we all did this. We did this because we wanted to be successful, not because the name on the not for the person whose establishment we're working with. I don't like to say under or work for, because at the end of the day we
work together.
We do work together. But we don't work for anybody. We work for ourselves.
100%.
And so I feel like it's important to still have that self identity within a bigger bubble, or like under a bigger name or something, because I feel like if you can still stand out while there's a big name, like you are definitely still a brand. It's like you're kind of like coming here to All In. Like you come to All In, but you see all three of us. But then each individual barber has their own aesthetic, has their own style, and then we all in the retrospective things, like we all complement each other. So it's kind of like brand for me. I feel like keeping identity within yourself and staying true to yourself is super important, and I feel like people really don't know how to do that because they either lack the resources or they don't want to step on anybody's toes. And it's just a really, really, really like kind of like people are walking on eggshells when it comes to stuff like that. You know, like.
But do you think I'm trying to figure out how to ask this. Because what you said it's a big statement, and you said that we get into this. Those who are self-employed, sole proprietor, independent,
Yes,
right? Who we come into this industry and we want to make a name for ourselves, working in whatever whoever
shop you're at.
Yeah, shop, anything of that nature. But how do you feel about some people feel like they can't because of maybe they haven't recognized their value
because lack of confidence, maybe?
Yeah, lack of confidence, or they haven't recognized their value.
That's very true, bro.
What would you say to those people? Because I've met some people that they shared with me, I feel like I want to do this, but like I don't want to let the owner down.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes there's been scenarios where I don't know how he's going to feel about that, or I don't know how she's going to feel about that. Again, talking about the owner.
Yeah.
Like, because I think it's a very few. It's a very few owners that will be like, Eli, go do your thing, bro. I rock with you.
True.
What do you think about that?
Very true. I would think I would want to tell them that, hey man, you got it. You put yourself through school. You went and got your license. You were in that room with 4 other people. You followed directions. You were rewarded your certificate of completion. You got your license. You came back. You're actually in the place that you want to work at, or at least in the position as a barber. You know what I mean? I go like this because it's like it might not be your ideal barbershop that you want to work for, but you're still a barber.
Correct.
You're still somewhere, because I feel like people have this idea like, I want to be a barber. I want to do this, and I want to work. For example, the zoo here in San Mateo, California, one of the pioneer barbershops of all barbershops.
Yeah.
Shout out to the zoo. Yeah, you guys.
Shout out to the zoo.
Part of my inspiration, motivation, and my self-innovation. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like the zoo is definitely something that I've had my eye on. That I definitely carry as inspiration and motivation too. So, but like if there's guys that I know that want to work at the zoo, and I'm like, dude, just get your feet wet somewhere, experience, learn. And I remember specifically this one cat. He came up to me. He's like, man, I want to work at the zoo. I want to be around the environment that I like. Some young energy, dope energy. I want to do dope cuts. But he works at a beauty shop. And I'm like, man, you have an advantage right now. You know how many barbers really don't have that skill of transitioning from clipper cut to scissor cut? Like if you learn all those techniques there and ask questions as to why you're doing this, you can take that experience and just add it to your belt, and now you have this whole, what can I say? Man, what am I trying to say? This full,
Arsenal?
Yes.
It's okay.
This full, what I was trying to get to. You have this full arsenal where now your range in skill sets is starting to vary now. You know what I mean? Now it's all kinds now. You're not just clipper cutting, you're scissor cutting, clipper over comb. Now you're using,
point cutting.
Exactly. All those techniques and everything. So I'm telling them, and be patient too. And I tell them, always be patient. But always the fact that you're already doing it, that should be confidence for yourselves to be able to take an opportunity and start branding yourself.
Yeah.
Start taking that step to get acknowledged, get recognized, because sometimes the name on the window will kind of intimidate people. Like, oh, I'm not at that standard yet. But the fact that you're working there already, that says a lot, man. I feel that there are people that they choose are very particular with who they want to work under them or for them or with them. But I feel like they just don't want to. They give them the self-confidence to be great in the shop, but also tell them hey man, don't think you're the shits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're only the shits because you work here. And I feel like that's not really right, because I've seen it before. I don't think that's right. feel like everyone should install confidence in everyone they work with, even as a colleague, anyone that you know, your neighbor from a neighboring business or whatever it may be. Like, you have to really. I would love to see people be like, hey man, like you work here now. Well, guess what, man? Now the sky's the limit for you. You working here opens doors to everything. You know, that's how I took that opportunity when I went to work with Shane Nesbitt at Headshots. Like, it wasn't the zoo, but it was still within the family of the zoo. But man, when I was in there working, I was like, dude, I could do anything, you know. And you know, there were some moments where, you know, I was a little bit too optimistic, but only because I didn't really understand how much work needed to be done to get to where we want to be, you know? So I was very underestimated. And me being a rookie barber, I was kind of like, damn, like you gave me the confidence to do this, but I wish you could have been like, hey man, like you could do anything, you know? Even if it's just your time here with me for a little bit and you want to just go and do that, like I would have appreciated that much more than you know, some being told like, hey man, like you're here, I need you here, and that's what it is, you know? Yeah. Because I went through that experience myself too, with the question that you asked, you know. So and that just wasn't at wherever I was working at. That's just been my whole entire career as a barber.
Yeah. And mind you, like,
and that's not even barber owners telling me this. It's my colleagues too. Like, hey bro, like you ain't been doing this as long as I've been, so you need to chill. And it's like, for me, it's more like I'm disciplined. I'm patient. I've been given nothing but loyalty and respect. The 4 qualities that I want for myself in my life to this job. You know what I mean? So like, if you can acknowledge that much, you should be able to empower me to go and do whatever I want. You know? Yeah. And I feel like that there are barbershops and beauty shops that kind of don't really do that, because they want the people to stay with them for the long run, which is great. I get it. You know, we open up barbershops. The big dream is to open up a barbershop and to have this team that's going to rock with you from day one to the day that you end up closing your doors. Of course. But at the same time, let's not forget that there's an individual dream with every single person that you get to work with. 100%. You know, and I feel like sometimes, like, yes, they support your dream at the time, but also let's support their dream too, because it can come off a little selfish. You know, like, hey, this money's for me, this name is for me, and it's like, oh man, like we're all doing this because we want it to be somebody. Of course. So let me piggyback off you and be great too, because knowing that when people ask me where you started, trust and believe your name is going to be the first thing I speak. You know. Yeah. And shout out to Shane. You know, he definitely gave me an opportunity to step into this barber world, and you know, I gave him my all, and yeah, man, I never forget where I come from, and I always give respect where it's due, and so yeah, man, thank you. Still doing my thing, still love it, and yeah, so. Right on.
So how do you feel about this phrase right here? Respect the ones before you, learn from the ones before you, and respect from the ones after you, and learn from the ones after you.
Man, that basically just says, be humble. You know, be humble. Take it all in. Be humble and contribute. Right on. Because you're not the first, and you're not gonna be the last. Yeah. You know, we're the right now, and I want to be right now for a long time. Yeah, that's true. You know what I mean? That's true. We all want to be right now for a long time. So, yeah, for sure. I love to hear other barber stories. Their techniques, where their journey, where they came from, their struggles. I like hearing people's struggles, man. I like people failing. I like hearing that stuff, because not everything is perfect. If everything was perfect, we'd all be happy and there'd be no drama. Yeah. No like hard discussions, no disagreements where you're still agreeing to disagree, like no perspective, you know? Yeah. And I feel like having a fall on your face and getting up, I enjoy that much more than having a smooth ride, because you actually get to learn from that kind of stuff. So seeing other people's failures, I'm kind of, from my personal opinion, like from my personal experience, I have to fall on my face. If you tell me don't do this, I'm gonna kind of still do it, knowing what could possibly happen, but then when it actually happens to me, I'm like, damn, I should have listened, but I didn't. But also, and that kind of works as well with like the newcomers into like people after us. Like, dude, this industry is innovating every year, every day. Different styles, different techniques, different equipment is put out, and you want to be in the know. So if there's someone younger that knows something that you don't, by all means, be open and open yourself up to receiving information, because you don't know. You never know. You might end up using that, and you can add that to your arsenal. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, where you helped me with earlier. You know, you can add it to your arsenal, and now it makes you that much more like, wow, you're much more skilled, you know, and you're just more, you just know more, you know. So that's that's how I kind of see that. You know, like, I think it's great that people should I think it's great for me for myself at least, to learn from the people before me, people that I'm growing with now, and then people after me.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I like that.
Right on, brother.
So you were talking about failures and hard falls and stuff like that. So as a barber, what has been your biggest, like, you could say, upset as a barber, where you probably, you know, felt, I don't know, you know, only you know, but where you probably felt like a failure, or where you felt like things were going your way as a barber?
Yeah.
Was there a moment?
Yeah, I feel like for those moments, for me, it was when it was time for me to leave a barbershop. You know what I mean? It was more for me at the time, it was acknowledging that, okay, I'm not going to be successful here. Like, I can try and try and try, but it's not going to work for me. Like, I'm not going to be happy anymore like I used to be. Excuse me. I'm not as happy as I was, and that to me is a fail, because we want to achieve happiness. You know what I mean? We want to create this environment for us when we're at work where it's great and we're exuberating nothing but positive energy and vibes, and we are just giving it 110%, and then nothing can go wrong. You know?
Yeah.
For me, that's that fail, and also like just trying things too, like whether it's with equipment. You know, if I see something that's brand new and I don't like it, but everyone else does, like, do I feel bad because I'm not on the train, because I'm not following the trend, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, my same setup that I have the same setup that I have in barber college. You know what I mean?
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
I have basically the same setup, other than the fact that I do have a master.
Yeah.
But, you know, I shout out to the homies at the Classic Barber, but it's funny because I'm the only one that doesn't use cordless clippers. Right,
I don't use cordless either. I have a philosophy though behind cordless.
Go ahead.
It's limited power.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? It's limited power. Like, yeah, you can have 3 or 4 of them. I don't want to buy 3 or 4 of them.
But when the power goes out, y'all winning.
Winning. For sure, absolutely. No, no thought about it. But I just need that consistent power.
Yeah, no,
I just need that consistent. Every stroke needs to be the same, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
I hear you.
But, you know, it doesn't, those failures for me are just trying new things out that I didn't know, trying techniques out. You know, I find myself doing certain things a certain way, all of a sudden I'll switch it up, and the customer will love it. They'll try to come back, and I'll be like, how did I do that? Because I was trying a different technique, but I just couldn't remember it, or I just didn't follow through with it. So consistent enough to remember it, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's when I kind of failed too. Also, like, with my clients too, like, not being, I try my best, to the best of my ability, to be as professional and to be as present as possible, but life takes over too. I have to be aware of that, and I have to be okay with that happening, because sometimes I get on myself about that. If I run late, or some family emergency happens, or I have too much fun one night and I just can't make it in, like, I have to relax those expectations for myself, because those are failures for me, and let myself know that they're okay, because I'm human. You know, I should be able to live too. It's not always about being so on every single time, every single day of my life. You know, I should be able to.
And I think that's a big lesson. When I say that, you know, because obviously, you know, Eli's older than I am, so you know, he's someone that I can.
How old are you?
26.
26.
So he's someone that I can kind of, you know, go to as a mentor. And,
I'm 33, by the way.
You know, with that being said, you know,
I think we get to a point where we don't want to mess up.
Yeah, no.
And the thing for me, and I admire your perspective because you're human, and we all are. I think it's crazy how much pressure we put ourselves through sometimes.
Absolutely, dude. I'm my own worst critic. I'm very open to criticism, constructive criticism too, like what I could do to better myself, to better my work ethic, to better just any aspect of my life. I'm super open to it. But at the end of the day, I definitely criticize myself the worst. People will compliment me on my work, and I'm like, I was alright. I don't really think I did the best, but it was cool. They're like, that was fine. Thank you, but I still feel like I could have done better.
Gotcha.
Or I missed a step or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like those little things, just because we know that we did it, not everyone else knows the process, so they only see the end result.
Yeah.
They're like, damn man, I could have tried a little harder.
What are your thoughts on mental health and barbering? Obviously, you can apply it to life. You can apply it to life, but I feel like
mental health is everything, bro.
Go ahead.
I think mental health is important. Being able to process what your experiences are, being able to categorize them as to how to feel with certain things.
Yeah.
I know that I can be very unpredictable sometimes. In the sense where I act very
emotional.
I can be emotional. Yeah, my feelings can get the best of me sometimes. I try not to do that when it comes to my work. When I'm at work,
yeah.
I don't like to put my emotions into my job, because at the end of the day, John, who I've been cutting for 5 years, can go see you tomorrow. And that's not my choice. That's his choice. And if that's what's best for him, then I need to be okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be bitter about you cutting him all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I'm happy that he's going to you. I should be happy that he's going to you, because you're someone that I see is skilled as well, definitely puts out good work, and will definitely take care of John,
Yeah.
But I feel like in our community, we sometimes shade ourselves a little bit towards each other, like, oh, you cutting that guy now? I don't cut
when
that.
You used to cut him?
Don't cut that. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, don't do that, unless there's like a weird situation where people got
unique situation
where people got disrespected, or you're trying to defamate my character in some kind of way, like, all right, for real, like, on a personal level, like, he just does this, and I just want to let you know that this person has the capacity to do that. So just, definitely take care of them, and be aware of what they can do.
Yeah, I think that shows a lot of sympathy and empathy from your standpoint, where you don't get bothered if your client A goes to see your homie at another barbershop.
It's been a process too. It wasn't like that from the gate.
No, I know. But and mind you, I think we can share an experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, we have a client that used to cut, and then homie moved to the city, and then I cut her now, right?
Yeah.
And, it was actually really cool, because he was like,
you are too, bro.
It was cool because he was like, hey man, Eli said that I should hit you up, and like, I trust Eli, and so every time he comes, till this day, and I mean this, I promise this.
Yeah.
Every time he comes, like, yo man, have you talked to Eli? I hope he's doing good, right? So he's always asking about, Eli, his former barber, and again, that's what I think you could say barber love is. Because that's how it should be. There shouldn't be any shade being thrown around. So I appreciate that perspective. Now, you've been in a place where you've been able to kind of grow from your failures, and pick and choose, like, the lessons, you could say, you've taken from them.
Absolutely.
And just kind of gathering my thoughts on the fact that you want to be a teacher.
And real quick too, man. Real quick. A lot of my failures that I've learned along the way is communication. Like, I failed tremendously communicating, like, a lot. Even just with my clients alone. So learning from being a rookie barber to where I'm at now, I'm still learning, It's a continuous thing every single day, because people just communicate very different. So me being experienced, me having the opportunity to work in different barbershops and different people, different clientele, different communities, different backgrounds, cultures, all that kind of stuff kind of gives me the tools to be able to communicate with everyone now, because now I've been exposed to everything, but I failed along the way, not saying things that are ethical, saying things that won't offend anybody, saying things that are just super on my opinion or my perspective, not being open to other people's perspective. So like having that interaction, whether it was negative or positive, and there was definitely negative ones too, like more than positive, because that's how I learned, that's how I had to learn. I took that experience to learn how to navigate with the next person. And it was because of those that I was able to, those failures that I was able to recognize and be like, okay, like I need to do this a certain way, which in retrospect kind of like works in my life now, because now when I come across different cultures of people, I know how to talk to them. I'm very open-minded when it comes to stuff like that. I'm not as one-track minded as I was before.
Yeah. And it's hard to kind of switch up with those.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to, but I wanted to just touch base on that because I'm like, oh, dude, like aside from techniques and stuff like that, like interaction with people. Yeah. Those failures are also, they're important too, because they help build, shape how we kind of approach things.
And you remind me of our industry. You remind me of something that I heard last night actually. And I was watching kind of like an Instagram live from a barber, and the barber was saying, if we want change, it starts with dialogue, communication.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
And it's so basic, right?
Super simple.
But how many times do we not talk or say something because of our pride, because we're not confident,
or don't want to step on someone's toes?
Yeah, or that,
or just don't want that confrontation.
Yeah.
So there's many people that I know that are not inclined to confrontation. It could be confrontation in a matter of just, it could be positive,
Correct.
It's just the fact that we're just we're giving acknowledgement to whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can we talk about this? Most people just like to brush it off and sleep it off, and tomorrow's a rainy day. Hey, what's up, bro? How you doing? Cool.
And you still got that
little chip on your shoulder, you know what I mean? Like, you did that yesterday.
Yeah.
I still remember.
Self-aware.
Yeah, for sure.
That's self-aware, and I think that's very important for us to have. Just that self-awareness.
I've definitely gained self-awareness being in my growth as a barber, and as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, just someone who wants to do business for myself.
Yeah,
I've definitely taken that along the way.
Right on.
Just say bling.
There's so much to talk about, bro, and like I've said before, there will be a part 2 to this. But I want to know who's been the most influential person in your life.
It's kind of easy, kind of hard at the same time, because I've gotten influences. I've been influenced by many people.
How about, let me make it easier. Top 3 most influential people in your life.
Okay. First and foremost, my parents.
Okay.
I've always seen how they work, their dedication, their love to what they do. Whether they come home and complain about it, that's natural. I feel having to just get everything out what you're feeling the day, so that you can go on the next day and get doing your thing. But definitely my parents, man, and those they work. Yeah. They come from a generation like yourself. I'm pretty sure like your parents too. Like they come from a generation where they don't know how to slow down. Their day off, so they're still doing something, whether it's work on the house or something. Like they're doing something.
Yeah.
They don't just chill.
It's that type of work ethic that it's hard to compare to anything else.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like since they're immigrants and I feel like they have more to prove than we do, because they came here for a better life for themselves, and they had us here to give us better than what they had. And so that every day, like, and pa luchar cada día, you know what I mean? I'm Mexican, by the way, so that's where that Spanish came from. But pa luchar cada día y hacerlos, si se puede kind of mentality, like, so always put the energy forward to be something better.
Sigue luchando.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know, that's definitely one. Two, all you guys, man. All you guys.
Right on.
Seeing how you guys all approach our industry, how you guys come to work, your attitude, your intention, your reason, your motivation, like that keeps me motivated and inspires me, you know, on a daily, man. Just even with people that have, like you said earlier, like people that have come before us, people that we're working with now, and people that are going to come after us, like that, seeing that and seeing the determination and the willingness to be somebody and do it, that's what really inspires me, man.
Yeah.
And my third one would definitely be my professor or instructor, you can call him, from college, a couple of years ago. Her name is Ruth Ritchie. I'm only saying was because I'm not in her class anymore.
Yeah.
But her name is Ruth Ritchie. She was in my entrepreneur class. She taught me the phrase, be comfortable, learn to be comfortable in the uncomfortable. It was orientation, and I was in the back, super quiet, a full room of college students ready to start their quarter, and she comes in, just powerhouse energy. Mind you, very attractive too. You know what I mean? Like, trust and believe, when I ended up having her as my instructor, I was like, right first in class, bro, like right in the front. Like I was
Teacher's pet?
Facts. You know what I mean? I'm like, did you do the assignment? Yes, I did. A, B, C, and D. You know what I mean? And I did this extra too, by the way, just to throw it in there. And then she'd be like, can we all please be like Elias?
Oh, damn.
I was that dude. Like, you just added more to our work, you know? But I was just very intrigued by her class.
That's good.
But honestly, she definitely she did a lot for me too. She definitely was able to help me recognize when I'm uncomfortable, when I become complacent, when I end up being my own roadblock.
Yeah.
And becoming stagnant in my career and not really taking chances or risks on myself to be better, grow, and do more, be more. So yeah, man, it was her. So definitely my top three: my parents, peers and colleagues, and Ruth Ritchie from FIDM, Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandise. That's why I went to college, y'all.
So you went into college in between your barbering career.
I did it in the beginning a little bit, and then I completely dropped out, completely focused on barbering. And then when I decided to move to New York, that's when I picked it back up because I didn't want to leave anything kind of idling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wanted to just go back into it, finish what was left. And
so how does it feel to say that you're a licensed barber, and on top of that, you know, just to kind of put like an extra cherry on top of it, you're also a person with a degree?
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It's great, man. Knowledge is power, bro. You know, I feel like going to college, being just in a classroom setting, has given me the tools to be able to have intricate conversations with my customers, to have really not the most, I guess, normal conversations that you normally find in barbershops.
Yeah.
You know, which is basically sports, politics, religion, women, personal life. Like now I can actually talk about other stuff, man. Like, how do you feel about whatever this politician is doing? You know, whether I believe or not whatever they're saying, I was given the tools to be able to be open to a person's idea, take it for what it is, not be so emotionally like affected by it.
Yeah.
But also be able to just have that conversation and not just talk about women's sports, women's sports, religion, and all that kind of stuff. Be able to really have depth, because I feel like there are barbers that are just on the scratch surface of themselves. They don't really dig too deep in themselves to kind of really show what they are, what they have, how much more there is to them that they really show, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like when you sit in my chair as a client, or if we have a conversation like me and you are having a conversation right now, like I feel like I can show you more now here than I could being out and about and kind of just talking about whatever else, whatever we're chiming in on, you know? Yeah. It could be a game or whatever, so the next big dancing trend or whatever it may be, you know? Yeah. So I feel like having that college degree is also like a safety net too. You know, let's say this ends up becoming obsolete one day. You know, God willing it doesn't, but I have that to fall back on, you know. But it's also dope because I was able to aim my degree to help myself. A lot of us that are self-employed entrepreneurs, have our own business, and are doing stuff for ourselves, we tend to outsource for a lot of things, whether it's branding, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's photography, any type of media, just anything. You know, we solemnly just kind of focus on what we're doing, and if we can't do it ourselves, we outsource. And I feel like I win in that situation because I can do everything myself. You know, I was taught and I was basically given these tools to be like, hey man, you can go and brand yourself. You can do this and do that. And in return, instead of keeping that for myself, I like to help as many people as possible because there's so many people out there that are getting over on people. Like I can be a brand consultant. You know, I can label myself that, and I'm gonna charge you $1,500 to just create your email, to get you to create your IG, to create your website, all that stuff. Yes, it's very time consuming. At times a little tedious, you know, because it's all a little fine print. You got to fill everything in, all that stuff. Design everything to your aesthetic. But at the end of the day, I'd rather help you get yourself established in what you want to be and what you want to represent yourself to the community. Giving you that confidence and having all this stuff around you to be ready to do you. I'm much better off with that than charging you $1,500. You know, like I'll do it for free because at the end of the day, you're giving my book a range. You know, I help the barber, I help the beautician, I help the makeup artist. I've helped my boy who's he has a clothing line. I've helped, with my degree, I was even able to start, I wrote a curriculum for a community college because they were so interested in starting a barber program because their cosmetology program was it's doing currently so well. They reached out to me and they were like, hey, you know, you can do this. Would you be interested? And I'm glad to say that I actually was able to write a full barber program for a community college that is going to be put out for the community to use as
that's super cool.
as a blueprint to how to teach barbering the way I would teach it if I was to be in that position. You know, I'm not going to be teaching it, but I'm the one that wrote it. So whoever's teaching it is following whatever I wrote. So this degree that I obtained has not only just let me be a barber, but it's giving me all different avenues to kind of collect some type of revenue, to hustle. You know what I mean? Like we have to be in that mentality. Like, how more can we hustle? You meet any entrepreneur, they're not just doing one thing, bro. If they're doing one thing and they're succeeding, more power to them, more power to you. But I feel like us as entrepreneurs, we gotta touch a little bit of everything, you know? Because everything in the long run, when it comes back to us, it's going to be, whether it's some type of financial result or just anything, whether if it just gratifies your soul or anything like that, like it's just energy that you're putting out there and it's going to come back to you. But you're taking advantage too. You know, let's take advantage of everything that's out there for us that we can use for our own advantage to get ahead and just be better than what we want to be. You know? Yeah. Right on. And so because of that degree, like I'm able to say that, man. You know, so I encourage anyone that's in school, wants to go to school, go ahead and do it, man. Knowledge is power. Being able to say you have this, you did this under your belt is great. That's the only way you grow as a person. You know, you want to be able to, if you come across people that are wanting to do things, like, hey, man, go ahead and do it. Like I have my own aspirations and things that I want to do too, and what was that word I was telling you about? It's kind of like
Accountable?
not accountable, but people's not validation. I forgot the word, man.
Affirmation?
It's not necessarily affirmation.
Conviction?
Convictions. Yes, it's like their own convictions. You know what I mean? Of their life, of their walk,
Correct.
what they're doing. And I feel like hearing that from people that are that's impossible. I have kids. I have this and that. It's like not necessarily. It's always possible, but it's whether or not you want to do it.
Yeah.
Kind of like that dude Tony Robbins. He's always talking about that day you decide. We all have the capacity to do what we want, but it's deciding when to do it and deciding that I'm going to do it today.
That moment of conviction?
Yes, And
yeah,
so it's kind
that's
of
deep.
like, yeah, bro, because it's real, Like, so so having that degree is cool, man. It's just only because I'm not just a barber. I'm definitely more than that,
Right on.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
Yeah, brother. Sure.
So, what does the word accountable mean to you? Like, to be accountable, what does that mean to you?
Wow, man. Accountability. To me, accountability means you're just taking ownership of everything. You know what I mean? Like, you are putting yourself forward and you are taking responsibility of whatever it is that's going on. And that for me is really big because I feel like once you can hold accountability for your own actions, words, expressions, whatever it is that you want to have accountability, that you lack accountability for, or want to have or need accountability for, I feel like you become a better person. Because that way you can call yourself out too. Like, yeah, I messed up. My bad.
You're not gonna blame anyone.
Yeah, you don't blame anyone. That's on you. And so I don't like being called out on. I'd rather be accountable than me think that I'm not accountable and be like, well, that's your problem, bro. I have nothing to do with that. But it's like, oh man, like, okay, yeah, you did something. Yeah, I reacted. But at the same time, and then it caused a reaction from you.
Correct.
And then in turn, a situation, perspired off of that. But it's like, okay, so you're like, if you didn't do that, then I would have been like, well, you did this. It's like, okay, yeah, I said that because you made me feel like this. So you know what I mean? That's being accountable, man. That's being like, okay, yeah, I got in my feelings a little bit, so that's me being in my feelings. So my bad if I dog you, but let's move forward. You know what I mean? Let's squash this. It is what it is, and just let's be cool.
Yeah, from what I'm getting, accountability has caused growth for you.
Absolutely.
Right on.
For sure.
Right on. What does the word empathetic mean to you?
Oh man, these words are coming at me with. Empathy for me, it means like showing remorse. Like being able to feel for someone's situation, not necessarily not be so cold about it.
You think it's hard for us to have that sometimes?
I get you're going through something. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I feel like a lot of us have the mentality like it's not happening to me, so bye. Yeah. And so that's really what it is. But if you can be empathetic toward people, I don't know if you noticed, like my voice hella changed as soon as you said that, like it hella softened out. But it's kind of that's kind of like how you need to approach it.
I agree.
Like it's a very tender kind of headspace to be in when you want to show empathy. But to me, empathy is just really acknowledging other people's situation, taking that into consideration when you are trying to just do you. Because if you just do you without being empathetic, you're going to come off selfish, a little inconsiderate, and people are not going to be too nice about that. You know what I mean? On the receiving end of that. Yeah.
So, right on. So now moving into a different question here. But I love your input on those words because it makes you who you are.
Yeah, for sure.
The youngest barber you look up to and the oldest barber you look up to.
Oh,
who is it?
I gotta search for this one.
I'm curious.
Anybody?
Yeah, but again, just one. Youngest barber you look up to and oldest barber you look up to. One of each.
The youngest barber that I look up to, he's a youngster that I worked with at a barbershop last year. Do I say his name?
It's up your call.
Name's Beto. He reminds me a lot of myself when I was young. His eagerness to be a barber, you know what I mean? The way his skill set too, like super admirable, bro. The way he does his fades from a technical perspective, like, damn, I wish I could cut like that. You know what I mean?
Nice.
I think he's better than me.
Yeah,
you know? But he's definitely someone that I admire because he's at a perfect age where you can kind of kickstart your career, and then it can just really be whatever you want it to be. You know, I started when I was 24. If I could have started way earlier, if I could go back into the past and tell myself like, hey, what are you doing? Get yourself to barber college right now. Do that now.
Yeah.
So by the time you're 30, you're good. I definitely do it. You know what I mean? But obviously that wasn't written in my story. So, but he's definitely somebody that's super young. And that I kind of look up to just for being excited to come to work and do his thing and the way he does it, you know.
Yeah.
The person that I admire the most as from being older than me, man, it really goes down to one person, man. I think we both know who this is. Shane Nesbitt, you know. Just from working with him and seeing his story, knowing his story, being a part of the story as well, and seeing where he's been and to where he's at now, to even your guest last week or the week before when you had an interview on the FaceTime.
Jay.
He even calls out Shane. You know what I mean? So there was a thing where it was just a thing that he just mentioned, like, you know, I want to come to California and meet Shane Nesbitt, you know?
Oh, yeah. The barber from Mexico. Yeah. Damian.
Yes,
sir.
I was watching that, by the way.
Right on.
And I had to, like, say the exact same thing, man. Like, to be at a capacity where you are impacting people's lives on a global scale, you're just not touching communities now on just within your location. Now this guy has gone overseas, Mexico, just to share his story and his techniques. Not that I want to be a traveling barber and stuff like that. Like, that'd be cool. I definitely admire that, man, because it takes balls, man, to do that, to leave this situation and go off and do that. Like, imagine all the people that depend on us while we're here, you know? Imagine we kind of let them down a little bit in the sense where we're not available to them anymore.
Yeah.
You know, we're opening ourselves up to a bigger demographic of people. And so we end up that's like what it becomes now. So when you kind of go back to this, I feel like it's a little bit of downtime, but then eventually you kind of end up going back, and to be able to do that is super admirable, man, because not many people have the work ethic to do it and do it right, but at the same time maintain sanity and be happy. Because I feel like sometimes it consumes you, and it might not end up being what you want. You know?
Yeah.
So that's my youngest and my oldest. So, you know.
What do you recall your in your journey as a barber, like the happiest day you've ever had at the shop?
Yeah. It's it was in 2013 when I started at Around the Edge. Shout out to Around the Edge, by the way. I think it was at that summertime. Snoop Dogg was playing on the radio, or a sample of one of his songs. I think it was Juicy. I think the sample of Juicy was on. Just the instrumental though.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we just start rapping the lyrics to that song. But it was funny because it started with me and Danny, and then Nilo joined, and then all of a sudden, all the customers kind of just all harmonized, and we were all singing, bro. And it was just hella funny because I don't even know if it was Snoop Dogg, to be honest. I forgot who it was, but Snoop Dogg had a verse in it, and that's what caused kind of everyone to kind of just be in this. It was like this moment.
Yeah.
Like of happiness, man, and it was just really good energy, and everybody was kind of reciprocating that to everybody, and Julian had just hired me and Danny to be like the last members of Around the Edge, and I had told Julian shortly after that whole moment was over, I was like, hey, bro, like this is us now. Imagine what that's gonna be like later. And then, fortunate enough to say that I was there for 4 years. You know, that was the longest barbershop I worked at.
Yeah. And I can only picture that, right?
Yeah,
but you only know the feeling.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really good too. It was dope. It was cool for me to be like, wow, man, I found another place that reminded me of Headshots.
Yeah.
Because that camaraderie, that brotherhood is it becomes so like addicting. You're like, oh, I got boys, you know what I mean? Yeah, I have boys outside the shop, and now it's like I got boys and I got a family in the barbershop who understand what we go through, what the headspace you need to be in here, just everything, you know. Like I have people that I can relate to, and it's awesome. Like we can talk about this. So to find this again, because you always kind of think like, man, it was so good here. I wonder if it's going to be like that everywhere I go, and it honestly can be when you create it for yourself, you know. And so having the opportunity to find a new home at Around the Edge after stepping away from another barbershop, like I was like, man, this is dope. You know, like this is like that version 2.0.
Yeah.
You know? So it was a great moment though.
Right on.
Yeah.
So we're almost getting to the end of this here, but I want to know, like, I think there's a lot of people that kind of we take a little bit from like athletes and maybe even some artists out there. Is there anybody that you, I guess you could say, from an athlete point of view or from an artist point of view, that you can say like whatever that person does, I take some of that he or she does, and kind of put it
like their qualities and stuff like that.
Yeah, qualities, their drive, ethic.
You know what, man? I don't know if it's far-fetched, but I'm going to say Michael Jordan, bro. I really admire Michael Jordan, dude. I mean, he was one of my favorite basketball players growing up. But watching him at the time, it was just me watching the game. But now me as a grown man, and actually like, especially like seeing his documentary recently, The Last Dance and stuff like that, like really understanding what he was like, and his work ethic, like, man, it's crazy because, you know, that guy was putting his all into it. He was always practicing perfect practices, having perfect practices, always showing up, always giving it 110%. Dude, this guy, and like, what was it? During the flu game, remember the 95 when he got sick and all that? He was still playing. That's why the flu games came out.
Yeah.
Like, that determination, dedication, and love for what he did, is like is how I kind of take on my own journey here as a barber. Dude, how many times have I come in like hungover? How many times have I come in sick? Like, I've definitely come in sick, you know, to be still like having to take care of my clients. Like, I tell them like, hey man, I'm going to be running. My nose is going to be running, but I'm just going to step away just to take care of you, because I know that this appoints you. You might have a wedding, family event, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, they needed me to be here. And that to me is important over anything, you know.
Yeah.
Even I'll flake on my own family. I flaked on my own family to be here, you know.
Yeah,
I've sacrificed a tremendous amount, bro, over the years that I've been barbering. So it's funny, kind of watching this documentary. I've kind of taken little bits and pieces, like, oh man, like I kind of have that same work ethic, you know. So it's funny that you asked that, because it's like, damn, I could really see that.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what's crazy?
And yeah.
And I'm sorry to cut you off.
No.
You remind me of something, and this is going to go in addition to what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, MJ, every chance that he could. I mean, he had his down games, but though, like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
but what number of, like, what's that fraction like? Because the games where he did his most, where he sacrificed the most,
Yeah.
like most of his NBA career, he always did. You know, he always aimed for that.
Yeah, he tried to
Right.
outperform his own stuff.
And what's crazy is that I think that this is what I'm getting from you. Correct me if I'm wrong. What I'm getting from you is when you come to the shop, you'll come, obviously, you've sacrificed coming in here while you're sick. You've sacrificed coming in here while you've been, like you said, hungover, and maybe other situations.
Missing family events, you know what I mean?
Right.
Late on that family
And
events.
it makes me think, you know how many people want to go see MJ?
Yeah.
And like, let's just say that flu game,
Yeah.
right? How many people want to go see MJ?
Bro.
You know?
If I could go back in time,
You know, and MJ wanted to win,
yeah, of course.
and he wanted to win for his fans.
All the time.
And I think that's kind of what you do, where you come in and like that haircut, that's that win for you.
It is that win.
And that win for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
110%.
And I think I don't know. To me, my mind just blew up right there. You know?
No, man, because that's how much dedication and respect, loyalty, and discipline I've given to this. You know, like those. I feel like those qualities that I just spoke right now are so important to me, just to have in my, to be able to obtain them in my life, whether it's on an intimate level or in my career path or with my family. You know what I mean? Like those are things that I strive to have. You know, people are like, "What do you know? What's your ambition in life?" It's like, "Oh, to be happy." Like I could really say to be happy, but nah, man, I really want to exuberate like discipline, loyalty, respect, and there's another one I forgot. Patience, bro.
Yeah.
Patience. Having those, if I find something in my life that gives me those, man, you have that they'll have my loyalty, and I'll reciprocate all those qualities right back to that, you know, because I feel like that's so important for people. When you are able to recognize and obtain those things, I feel like that will get you that much further in life, in work, or whatever you want to put your energy into.
What's one message you have for any barber out there right now, whether they're in school or not? What's something that, like, if you were your young self and you could speak to yourself,
Yeah.
you know, as a barber student or as a barber, what would you say to your younger self and to anyone else watching?
I would tell them, learn to be comfortable in the uncomfortable now. Because I feel like if they learn to do that now, people will start to really take a risk on themselves and get ahead way sooner than procrastinating their own growth. I'm very guilty of that. You know, I have mentioned this, but when I was out of high school, I was in retail from 18 to the time I was 23. And I was only in retail because that's what I knew. That's what I understood. That's what I knew that if I got an interview, I was going to get that job because I just knew how to.
Yeah. Did you ever work at Fresh Bro?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
no,
I don't know. You kind of seem like a person that would work there.
Profiling, dog? You know, I just knew how to talk. I knew that language.
Yeah.
So when they were looking for somebody, I knew how to package myself. So they'd be like, "I'm picking you."
Okay.
If I knew that, if someone had told me to learn to be comfortable in the uncomfortable, I'd be like, "Damn, okay." What that means to me is learn to take risks. If I'm going to take risks, it better be on myself and not on anyone else.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone that says, "Oh, but I hear that all the time. I hear that all the time. Like, be comfortable being uncomfortable."
Yeah, I would be like, literally, listen to the word, look at the words. You know, like, stop being comfortable. Start to be comfortable and uncomfortable. Why? There's things that you want to do. I could ask them, like, is there things you want to do? Yeah. Why aren't you doing them? They're gonna be like, oh, because I can't. Because this. They're always gonna say I can't, or I have this going on. Why not be like, you know what? You're right. I should be doing this. I could do this. everyone is expecting like a crutch of some sort to kind of get them there. And we really don't need that crutch. We just need the confidence that we all innately have. It's all in us. Once we're born, we all born with confidence.
Yeah.
It's just coming across the people that are going to polish us and kind of get us going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To give us that little oomph to be able to have that confidence to do what we want to do.
Right on.
But definitely, I feel like a lot of people don't do more because they're complacent, they're comfortable, they don't want, they're not open to the unknown. You know, and I feel like growing and being a part of a bigger you, requires you to kind of be in the dark a little bit. You gotta shoot your shot. You gotta shoot your shot on yourself.
Correct.
And then you're only gonna find out if it's gonna work out. At least you're trying, because if you go living a life without all these shoulda, coulda, wouldas, you're gonna live with the shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I'm like, at least I tried to do this. It didn't happen, but I can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so at least you try. So, ladies and gentlemen, please learn to be comfortable in the uncomfortable, because I promise you it's going to be uncomfortable. It's only for a little bit. After that, you're going to be exposed to so much more, and you're just going to be able to be like, this is my home right here. And from there, nothing else will be anything stranger to you.
Right on.
You know?
So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years or so?
5 years, man. Hopefully I'll still be barbering. I don't know if it's going to be here in San Mateo or here at the barbershop, but if it is, then it is. You know what I mean? I definitely see myself opening a business. I do not know what. And then I also see myself sharing my time in and out of the barbershop. So whether it's on a creative kind of platform, meaning, doing graphics, doing any type of like visual work, or teaching.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you a question. This will be the last question. It's an important one, and the battery is running out. So
I was blinking.
I want to know this. What gift do you have that you want to keep continuing to give others?
Oh man,
mind you, the battery is with you.
Love, man. Love, because love can be translated in many different ways. You know what I mean? I show you love by being here today. I show you love by being present. You know what I mean? I show all my customers love by welcoming them, by expecting them every day. I show love to my coworkers by sharing our stories, our love for the art that we have. Love with my family, whether it's understanding or misunderstanding. It's just love, man. It's just love all the way around. Positive energy, positive vibes. That's so cliche for me to say, because it's like a thing right now in our decade.
The word cliche, if it didn't exist, we wouldn't use it. Would not use it. So he means it. But we say cliche because this world thinks like we gotta be hard, but in reality, we just gotta be real.
I see people posting good vibes only, and this person is not a good vibe only person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you are hella contradicting who you are right now with this post. So it's kind of like one of those things where I try to really project that.
Right on.
And man, I'm not one to really talk about anyone or anything, or really talk bad or disrespect anyone or defamate anyone's character.
Of course.
It's always love, and even if it's a negative experience towards me, I'll flip that and make that into a positive.
Right on.
Because love is, man, love. Everyone should be able to feel love, embrace it, give it, learn from it.
I love that.
All that shit, man.
I love that, bro.
Yeah.
So thank you, Eli, for being on this Barbershop Talk. I appreciate you, dog. I appreciate you. With that being said, I want Eli just to give a quick shout out to FYLM.
Oh man, you guys, I have this podcast with one of my close homies, Ned, Matty O'Ned. On IG, he's a fellow barber as well. FYLM TV. Find us on IG at FYLM TV, or on YouTube, youtube.com/FYLM TV. Basically, it's just me and him doing some ridiculous things. We'll play charades. We'll show you how to tequila taste and other obscenities, and it's all a good time, man. Nothing but good laughs,
Right
So
on.
check us out.
Right on.
You'll definitely be laughing.
Appreciate it. So thank you, Eli, for being on. Again, I really appreciate you, bro. I know that you're pretty strict with your schedule. So thank you for making time for this.
Of course.
And God bless you and your family. I have no doubt in my mind that you continue to impact not just your loved ones, but the barber industry in your own way. And shoot, man, like I support it. I support what you do. And I'm here to still admire you, still learn from you, and
I'm learning from you too, man.
I appreciate it.
It's all set up.
But I appreciate it, bro.
You guys don't see what I see, but you know what I mean? It's just like there's lights and everything, this and that. This guy got this whole little thing going on, so that's kind of tight.
I appreciate that, bro. But thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more. This was probably one of the best interviews I've had so far. Everyone on it has been great. But there's a lot of people that will be coming on and that have been on, like Eli, that have affected their industry, whether it's barbering or hairdressing. They've affected the industry in a great, powerful way. And I just want to shed light on those people. So thank you. Yes, sir.